Technical, how are we doing?
I got one more thing I need to do and I'll be.
Okay. Everyone could just bear with us one moment as we get set up. We do have a large crowd this evening. We have a lot on our agenda and we have several moving parts. All righty. Well, welcome everyone to our May 13th, 2025 regular meeting of the Waynesboro Area School District Board of Directors. Let's go ahead and stand for our Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Ms. Hennicle, I will ask if you could do roll call for us, please.
Mr. Hamburger,
Here.
Mrs. Miles. Here. Mrs. Zimmerman.
Here.
Mr. Pence.
Here.
Mrs. Strite.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mrs. Fortney.
Here.
Dr. Royer.
Here.
Mr. Marvin.
Here. All right, up next, we have the approval of our agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second. Dr. Sternheim, are there any amendments or additions to our agenda this evening?
I will be making an amendment to the job description and then within the Act 93 agreement as well. I'm not sure if you'd like me to do that now or.
We'll do it at each specific item.
Perfect, thank you.
All righty.
No additions. though.
No
No.
additions. We are just amending the title.
It's already long enough.
Yes, so I will just comment for us, everyone for our board. Please don't feel like I am by any way shortening our discussion, but if I sense that we are done talking about a topic, I will move us quickly on to the next topic. We do have a long agenda, but if you have something to say, you have full freedom to say it. So I by no means I'm silencing us, but if I do get a sense that we're ready to move on, I will move us on. So, alrighty. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That will bring us on to the approval of our minutes. These are the minutes from our 4/22/2025 regular meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as attached?
Move to approve. Second.
I have a first and a second over here. Any discussion or corrections from our last meeting? Seeing none. We'll go ahead and move to a vote to approve. All those in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I need to abstain since I wasn't here.
And we have one abstention due to the absence of the previous meeting. All right, thank you. Motion carries. That will bring us then to our superintendent report. Dr. Sternheim.
Am I allowed to do it?
Yes, go
Okay,
ahead.
this is very abbreviated. So I want to shout out to WASHS. We were able to secure a $75,000 PA Smart Grant for STEM and technology, more to come. We also want to make our families aware, although there's information in the public indicating that there is going to be a cut in Head Start funding. Our pre-K programs are all run by a separate state-run program. So our pre-K program here at the Waynesboro Senior High School will not be impacted by any type of Head Start cuts. Also great news to the Martins Roundup. We were expecting or anticipating a check for $7,424, but we got a check for $12,424. We were one of 10 districts that received an additional $5,000. And way too many other things are covered at this point, although we had a very successful Waynesboro Olympics on May 2nd, and WAMS hosted the Go Girls Go Run for both Summit View and WAMS. I know both Hooverville and Diane's wanting props. Everhart also did. and Mrs. McGuire also did that program as well at different dates and locations. So that's it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Dr. Sternheim. Did we receive any public comment?
I did not receive it.
All right, we have not received any public comment. So we will be moving on to our first of two learner showcases. Our first showcase is from our Hooverville Elementary. So I'd ask that anyone who is speaking come up to the podium so that you can be heard, as well as these are live streamed on YouTube, so we want to make sure that the mic picks up for our streaming as well. So take it away.
Excited. I have two students with me this evening. This year's students in the week, grade from grades 3 through 12 have the opportunity to take the American Legion Essay Contest. And last year I came to you with one winner. This year I had to have three winners. One of the winners actually moved to shift for Gary, so we are excited. First place with us. I wanted to also let you know that there were a total of 81 essays. With record-breaking for the American
Key
Legion.
to me, is that what the
Mhm.
problem is?
The topic was what does America the Beautiful mean to me? And tonight, those students will be sharing. I want to start with Carter. Carter Schultz is here with us. He's the son of Danielle and Joseph Reed. Has two sisters and two brothers. He's in fourth grade at Hooverville. His hobbies include fishing, spending time with family, and playing baseball. He plays for the VFW and he also plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers. His favorite subject is math, and his favorite teacher is Miss Jacobs. He shared to me today that his favorite is recess. Imagine.
Mine too.
And then he thinks he's funny, and he's extremely happy to have this evening. All right. Ready? Come on. My school with Carter's father. Grandfather, not mother.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Ready to get up here. Miro Oatslick. He is the son of Miro and Laura Oatslick. Miro has two sisters. His grandfather is a former veteran. He enjoys fishing. This year at Hooverville, we started a chess club. And he's considered as a chess. So he is a big part of our chess club. He also enjoys soccer for the Mayflower Warriors. His favorite subject is science and more specifically biology. Like to be a pilot when he grows up. If he put narrow his seats and selection down, he wanted to recognize his courage as his Lego and this. He also loved it. One of the neat things about Miro is the writer. Alan for them. Fifth grader, Miro. America's national bird, the bald eagle, is one of America's most possessions. And it's the courage and the bravery of our veterans that have protected these beautiful creatures. They're found in my favorite. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Before we transition to Fairview, in light of the two great essays by Mr. Carter and Mr. Miro, for those that have served or are veterans, go ahead and just raise your hand. It's a couple. So for those that have served, thank you for doing so. And thank you for our two young men, and your wonderful essays. Thank you, sir. So, all righty. Thank you, Ms. Eberhardt. Ms. McGuire, you're home.
So I'm not with all of our kids. We've got 10 of our 14 leadership council students. So I'm not going to do a bio for all of them, but I would like to shout out Miss Eliza Resitar, who's one of our first grade teachers at Fairview, who has actually taken on responsibility for the leadership council for the last 2 years. So it is a group of our 4th and 5th graders, commonly referred to as student council. We call them our leadership council because we look for them to be leaders in our building in lots of different ways. So they've been practicing hard and they have a script in order. So we're going to try to feed them through here because they just realized they're in a very small space. So I'm gonna go up to the front and they're gonna come and join me as they finish their part. But 10 of our 14 kiddos are here to share what they have done to change Fairview for the better. I'm Golden Lewis of the City. One of the things our leadership council got to do is marry at our school's Veterans Day program. It was an honor to stand on stage into the veterans of the youth. We got to thank them for their service and tell them how much we appreciate what they've done for us. During the program, the show outrageous songs we also introduced the songs were beautiful. We didn't hear it, but most of all, it's one of the it is
Not hearing.
Decided we need to snap for that.
I don't think it's on.
The Leadership Council wants to do this because we thought that every learner should feel welcomed. We work hard to be leaders at our school and peers that the younger grades can look up to. We are hoping that that receive these gifts of goldfish made the upcoming kindergarten class is feel welcomed and excited to start school. I'm Landon Shank and I am in 4th grade. When we have special events or celebrations, some families come to school to help with the party. One of our jobs is to greet them when they arrive and escort them to the right classroom. We make sure they don't get lost and feel welcome in our school.
I am Jace Good and I am in fourth grade. We also help by carrying party supplies like snacks, decorations, and games. Sometimes the bags and boxes were big, but I don't mind because I like being helpful. It feels good to know I am making the party setup easier for everyone. Helping with these things makes us proud because we get to be good helpers and show kindness. It's fun to be part of something that makes our school smile and celebrate together.
My name is Kara Scott Pratt. I am in fourth grade. When when families came in to visit for the holiday lunch, we got to welcome them at the door with a big smile and we said hello and helped them feel happy and excited up to be at our school. After that, we escorted them to the cafeteria so they wouldn't get lost. I am Abigail Wolf and I'm in fourth grade. Then we help them find their learners so they can enjoy their meal together. It was really fun to help families feel comfortable and see how excited the students were when they found their family. We like being helpers and making the holiday lunch a special time for everyone. My name is Lauren Goodworth, and I'm proud to be a member of our leadership. As we come to the end of this year, I just want to say how thankful I am for the chance to be a part of something so important. Being in the Leadership Council has taught me how to be a leader, a good listener, and a helper in our school. We've worked hard to make our school a better place by helping with events, sharing student ideas, and making sure everyone feels included. I've learned that even small actions can make a big difference.
So in case you couldn't tell, these are some very shy students on a regular basis that we have been trying to get out of their shells. But when we put them in their roles, they have really been able to shine throughout the building this year and definitely spread a lot of cheer and welcome. And if you ever need your heart full, show up at Fairview for holiday lunch and just wait for them to greet you because it might be my favorite thing that's gone on all year. So huge shout out to Miss Restar, who's also suddenly shy and does not want to. The full Thank you very much for the opportunity to highlight these amazing kids and the amazing work that they're doing to really help to make our school a better place every single day. And thank you, families, for bringing them out tonight and being patient and waiting with us.
All right, thank you all. We'll go ahead one more round of applause for both presentations. At this moment, we do not have a student board report, but I would invite families. You are again welcome to stay, but I'm sure that students might have other interests rather than sitting through the remainder of our board meeting. So I would just ask that if you would like to exit, you're free to do so. And I do believe our principals would probably, I see phones, also known as cameras. They want to grab pictures.
This is the catch.
We're gonna take just a brief pause while we transition chairs and things like that.
I got pictures of everyone at the podium that I will send.
Anybody that loves county roads, it's fine with me.
Yeah, same here.
To our friends in front, if you're not gonna hurt my feelings if you want to move a row back. Yeah. Yes, so.
I spilled my butter on the way. All over my arms.
I told them you just open the teacup.
Well, let's say this, I was glad I had black pants on, because it would have been really bad.
Right. Thank you all for coming.
Who's got the front row?
I was trying to hide
Don't let her do that.
All right, Ms. McGuire, Ms. Everhart, just so you know, 8 to 10 years, they're eligible to run for school board. So I'm saying 8 to 10 years, these students can run for school board. They're of age, so.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hey,
Hey, your husband, I said hello. Tell Charlie Baylor said I went to school with him.
Charlie Baylor. All right, I'll write that down.
All right.
Did you go to school with Diane then too?
Yes, yes.
That's his grandson.
The grandson.
That's my grandson.
Got Charlie Baylor. Got it.
Yep.
6 degrees of separation of Derek Hines.
Yeah, seriously.
So, alrighty, well, thank you all for that brief pause. We were gonna continue on in our agenda. We don't have a board report tonight. So we'll move directly on to board reports. So, up first, we have policy committee. Mr. Pence, anything to report?
Yeah, we have our 3 policies up for second reading: hazing, tobacco and vaping for students, and tobacco and vaping for staff tonight.
All right, thank you for your good work with that. Up next, we have the academic committee. Dr. Royer, anything to report?
Academic committee, you'll be meeting on May 20th
All right,
at 2:00.
May 20th at 2:00. I know facilities committee has not met since last time, but Mr. Smith, anything the update? Well,
No, so looking for the next, we meet May 20th.
Okay.
In this room.
Alrighty, so May 20th here in the boardroom, that's at 5:30. Budget committee did meet last night, as a reminder, our final budget will come back to the board at our first June meeting. However, next meeting, our next regular board meeting, we will have a discussion only item just about the budget as an opportunity to say, there haven't been really any updates since we did vote on our preliminary budget. There's a couple minor changes in terms of, as was mentioned, some grant funding. We do have some more knowledge in some of the personnel changes that have been mentioned or will be mentioned this evening. Some more information about that. So we want to use that opportunity just as a discussion item. If there's any concerns or questions about the budget before we vote on it for that final meeting, or sorry, that's we're gonna do our final meeting in May, and then that first meeting in June is when we will vote on it. So that is it for our board reports. That will then bring us down to our first item of regular business. It is a revised job description for Director of Innovative Learning and Technology. And Dr. Sternheim, I believe you wanted to make, this is one of your amendments.
That is correct. So for the amendment, I would like to refer to the position as Director of Innovative Learning and Instructional Technology. If we can make that change, and there is a job description. Essentially, it is a position that had existed in the past. We made some revisions to it, and it will now be part of the Act 93 agreement as well. So the description should be titled Director of Innovative Learning and Instructional Technology.
Alrighty, thank you, Dr. Sternheim. Is there a motion to approve the revised job description for Director of Innovative Learning and Instructional Technology?
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a first and a second. Any discussion or questions on this job description?
Just one question, technicality. Has that director's position title been changed in Act 93?
That's my next step.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. And what's up?
All right, anything else regarding this job description? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to a vote. So all those in favor of approving the revised job description for Director of Innovative Learning and Instructional Technology, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Right. Motion carries then. That'll bring us down to personnel. Dr. Sternerheim.
Thank you, Mr. Marvin. So first on, the resignation of administrative staff is Dr. Todd Deshawn. We want to wish him the very best. We thank him for his service here in the Waynesbury School District. In addition, we have, 2 additional professional staff resignations listed. Additional support staff resignations, a resignation of coaching staff, a resignation of extracurricular staff. We also have a series of professional staff reassignments. More specifically, if you look at Mr. Keith McCray is moving from the instructional technology specialist to, and that should also be amended, Director of Innovation. It should be innovative and instructional technology. So again, my apologies for that inconsistency. Reassignment of support staff, reassignment of coaching staff, appointment of support staff, and then there's a series of changes of support staff hours, appointments of extracurricular. And it is that time again. We are hiring summer maintenance student workers. So there is a listing there of both maintenance workers that are students of the Waynesboro School District, as well as some additional technology workers. Appointments of summer school staff. There is a listing of our summer school instructional instructors, I should say, and as well as a listing of para educators. You can tell we've been busy, right? And appointments of support staff. Continuing on, there's another listing of personnel. We also have the reassignment of professional staff listed, reassignment of supervisory staff, and a big congratulations to Brittany, who is in the audience today. She is going to be, as a result of a board motion, our next assistant business administrator for the Waynesbury School District, moving from the business office as the accounting manager. So we appreciate Brittany being here this evening. We have additional reassignment to support staff, as well as appointments to supervisory staff. Continuing then to actual teacher contracts moving forward. We have the recommendation for Sydney Berman for Hooverville Elementary, continuing then with Tara Lake at the Waynesboro Middle School. I always want to call her Lindsay. I want to call her Nikki Embley. Her mom's Nikki. It's Lindsay Embley at WAMS as well. And in the audience, we have Lindsay Salmon, who will be taking the position of the librarian at Summit View and Hooverville Elementary. So welcome, Lindsay. In addition, we have Peyton Henderson, who will be a kindergarten teacher at Summit View Elementary. Leslie Krebs has served as a long-term substitute in family and consumer science at Washes, will now be a contracted position during for the following school year. We also want to welcome Courtney Dunlop, who is joining us. She will be a 5th grade teacher at Maury Elementary, also a graduate of the Waynesboro Area High School. And finally, we have a series of personnel leaves for your approval as well. The recommendation is to approve all the personnel as listed.
You sure? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the personnel as listed?
Move to approve. Second.
I have a first and a second. Since personnel, we don't really do too much discussion, but anything for the good of the order? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. Congratulations to those that are in the audience with us this evening in particular. But thank you to all who are working here at our district. Much appreciated.
Well.
So for those that are brand new, welcome. For those that are moving to a different role, thank you. And all the best as you move into this next role with us. It's greatly appreciated. All right, continuing on, we have Act 93 agreement. So Dr. Sternheim.
Thank you, Mr. Marvin. So the recommendation is to approve the Act 93 agreement. Please note on page 3, the position should be listed as Director of Innovative Learning and Instructional Technology.
All right, so with that amendment, is there a motion to approve the Act 93 agreement?
I so move.
Second.
First and a second. Any additional discussion?
I had a couple questions. The current agreement was due up in 2026. What's the reason for it coming early?
So it's essentially, an agreement is set for a certain amount of time. However, if the board members as well as the Act 93 group is in agreement, they would move forward to an agreement earlier rather than later.
Okay, so no reason, just,
Yeah, actually, my understanding when they came to it was the Act 93 leadership. It came to the Personnel Committee and said, could we start this year rather than next year? Because what happens is next year we do have a teacher's
Contract.
a contract coming up. And this agreement then would put it in a different year than the teacher's contract, which
Makes sense.
which does make sense that they're not all happening at the same time.
when did this start happening? Like I guess I didn't really know anything about this until Mr. Marvin sent me all the contracts and said there might be some work on this. Was this going on for a while or?
At least about a year.
Personnel and the leadership committee have been working on this since last September. I believe that's when it started, didn't it? Yeah, it started last September. And it was brought actually to the budget. That was brought to the budget. No, it wasn't. It was just the salaries brought to the budget committee, I guess. So. Yeah, do you have any questions?
Yeah, the 2025-2026, it says adjustments recommended by the WSD Board Personnel Committee. Can you share those adjustments or tell me what they are?
Need to go to exec.
Excuse me?
That's something that would need to be an exec?
Yes.
Yes.
It's all
That we
public
would have
information,
to,
isn't it?
and that was shared with the budget committee a while ago. And I can't remember exactly when, but it was,
'Cause in the old agreement, there was like a salary grid. It's not in this new agreement. Like it gave like maximums, like it didn't say like this person makes this person makes that. It just gave like
It'd be, the salary caps.
taken out of there.
Salary cap, there, in the previous agreements, there was salary caps.
Okay.
And that had caused some problems because at one point in time that it just wasn't going to work out. I think if we, need to talk about, we need to call an exec.
yes.
We need to do that.
I'll look to you, Mr. Pence, if you want to go more in depth, then I'll move this into.
Just again, like some of the stuff that's added here, like it doesn't seem like it belongs in here. Like it's odd compared to many other Act 93 agreements that I've looked up. Like some of it just, I don't know. I thought Act 93 was just Act 93 group and the board, but it's like there's odd stuff in here that I haven't been able to find in any other districts.
I don't think there's any significant, well, no, there is not. There's no significant language changes.
There was this stuff added about training, like I don't like all over, it's all over the place, like it's odd.
That's a new requirement, correct, Dr. Stern?
That is correct. So yeah, that
Requirement.
training, so when you received the email with the Act 93 agreement on Friday, everything that was in red was changed.
That requirement from
It's
body or,
well, essentially, it's a requirement to be able to manage buildings and student safety. And we've required it, like we've provided the training.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, I'm just saying it's very odd that it's in this and I don't see any other examples of districts, like all the other districts look like our old one. Like
Mhm.
other districts, like I guess there's like a
So
template.
by having this safe crisis management training, essentially it protects the individual, the admin, and it also protects the child and it protects the district. So
I'm not talking about that, just there's two mentions of training, it's just training in general, like it's
well,
odd to be in this agreement
okay,
based on
Well, I
other
believe,
districts.
okay, so, and so we might be groundbreaking here. There might not be other districts that will follow suit. So traditionally, if you were a building level administrator, you had some type of safe crisis management training. And in the past, we've offered trainings are not always, like, everyone's not always available. And in a sense, it's usually a 2-day training. There's one part is about the de-escalation, just
Well, you
verbal.
don't need to go into
Okay.
the training. I know what those trainings are. Going through
So-
it myself.
Okay. Is it in your contract?
No.
Okay, so you just do it, is it considered a condition of your employment or you
Yeah.
just volunteer? Okay, all right. And, but yeah, that is an addition, that is correct, so.
Yeah.
I,
guess the
I
other
did
stuff
check
we
with
can
our
talk about.
solicitor.
I guess the other stuff we can talk about in executive session. That's where it needs to be.
I'm sorry, what was the other? I didn't hear you.
It just says like this, the adjustments recommended by the WCH, salary adjustments, like, but everything else is like a blanket. But that adjustment, blanket adjustment for everybody, or like
That-
that's,
That would be
I haven't seen it.
executive.
Yeah,
We,
yeah.
we.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and ask for a motion to move into executive session.
I so move.
There's a second. All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Who's the second?
I was.
Are we just gonna move to that
All
room?
right, no, I'm gonna go ahead and ask our guests if you could.
You can actually go home.
For those that are only here for the personnel, you're welcome to go home, but.
I think-
Ask our guests.
Start my time, Lindsay. So happy to have you join us.
I know.
I bet there's a school that's a little upset about that.
Dr. Sternerheim,
Yes,
you're gonna have to call me and let me know when you're done with executive session.
sure. Thank you.
An email.
Okay, you're good to go, Mr. Marvin. We are live.
Alrighty, thank you. We're waiting for our person who helps run our meeting to come back in. So we'll.
You were trying.
You were gonna get very far without your breath back.
Let me tell them they can go home, Maria.
Who?
Yeah,
The teachers aren't coming back, Wendy.
Oh, they aren't?
No, I gave to them. They're not. That's what I told you, the only people coming back are admin.
Alrighty, I think we are back in, so I think we had our questions asked and answered in executive session. Again, that was for personnel related items.
Okay.
We do have a first and a second on the motion, so I will just read it again, and then we'll move towards a vote. So the motion is to approve the Act 93 agreement with the amendment to reflect the Director of Innovative Learning and Instructional Technology job title. So that has been first and seconded, and that is the motion on the floor. So we will go ahead and vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. That will then bring us to WASD drivers. Dr. Holtzman, I
Yes, sir. We
believe we'll
just-
give Dr. Sternheim a break real quick.
Sorry about that. Yeah, yes, sir. We just have the one driver on here who's met the criteria.
Alrighty. So we have a motion to approve the driver and we have a second. Any additional discussion on the WASD driver? All right, seeing none. Ready, Miss Pinnacle? There we go. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Right, motion carries. That will then bring us down to some more contracts. So renewal of the WASD school psychologist. There's two there. WASD athletic trainer and a WASD school police officer. So you, Dr. Sharon.
Yeah, so the recommendation is to renew the contracts. Unlike Act 93, these individuals are contracted positions. They're normally 3-year contracts and they're up for renewal. So my recommendation is to approve the contracts as listed.
All right, so the motion is to approve the renewal of contracts for the WASD school psychologist. There's two. WASD athletic trainer and a WASD school police officer. All contracts are effective July 1, 2025, and are 3-year contracts. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve. Second.
I have a first and a second over there. Any questions or discussion on the contracts?
Just a clarification, the school psychologists, are they independent contractors or are they considered employees of the school district?
They're employees of the Waynesboro Area School District.
Oh.
However, we have elected to put them on contracts.
That's fine, I just wanted that clarification.
There doesn't need to be a salary on these? Unless I'm missing something, which is possible.
So
There's one for the first one. There is one in there. It's all the way down in item number 6.
okay.
You look at item 6 in the,
Yeah,
That's
okay, I see it
Yeah,
now.
they're down there a bit.
All right, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
I read too fast.
So, I mean, if that was,
yes.
appreciate that. Yep, there they are.
Anything else on these contracts? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and move us to a vote. All those in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. That brings us then to the renewal of the Wellspan School Physician contract.
Recommendation is to renew the Wellspan School Physician contract.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
A first and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the Wellspan School Physician contract, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain, conflict of
Abstention.
interest.
One abstention. That will then bring us to the renewal of the school dentist contract. The motion is to approve the school dentist contract with Blue Ridge Dental for the 25-26 school year. Dr. Sharon,
Recommendation is to approve.
recommendation to approve. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
There's a first and a second. Any additional discussion or questions? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
This should have been in discussion, I'm sorry, but the school dentist, does he take care of our pre-K?
No. It would be the dental requirements, I believe, are kindergarten and 3rd grade
Yes. okay.
and
Oh,
7th.
okay, actually, that's what I meant. So, but pre-K going into kindergarten.
Yes, so in other
So
words,
should
in
he be
order to
taking care of-
register, in
Yeah.
order to register for kindergarten, the expectation that you have some type of dental exam. If you start kindergarten and you do not have a dental exam, they will make accommodations.
Okay.
To my knowledge, they've not, have done any work in our pre-K programs. It's not to say that there's not potentially an option. They obviously act as a consult as well when we have students with more pronounced dental issues and perhaps they don't have access.
Okay.
Mhm.
I was, I was just interested in those going into kindergarten so that those would be ready and they are sitting in pre-K now. But it would mean that they come with their credentials rather than
Sure.
doing them. But anyway, it's okay.
Most learners do. So, I mean, it's one of those things that, when it becomes, they become aware that it's part of the registration process, and they normally try to work through it over the course of the summer. They may not have it at the initial registration, but they'll turn them in later.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Alrighty, we're gonna keep moving then. Next is the overnight trip for National Honor Society.
So you have a request for the National Honor Society to take a trip to Williamsburg as well as Jamestown. So the recommendation is to approve this overnight trip for National Honor Society.
Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any questions or discussion on this item?
I would just request that this information be put on the form that we normally approve for records. Like, I think usually there's a form for an overnight request.
The form.
It is there? Okay, again.
It's a form.
All right.
It's in the-
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. It is, I mean, this is the form we normally use.
I was just reading the email. but,
Okay, no,
yeah.
okay.
If I'm reading this correct, the student pays for this, correct?
Yeah, the information is listed there, I
No, I
believe,
opened the email.
under additional logistic information. So the students pay 100%. Students participating in the fall fundraiser can earn up to $3.85 per bag of candy.
Oh.
So it's an optional trip. Now, you don't have to go. And I imagine if there was a learner that wasn't able to meet the financial obligations and really wanted to go, we would try to figure out a way to make that happen for them.
This does say that the above costs do not include food.
That would be correct because
Okay,
they're an
so the
amusement park,
individuals-
so.
Or we're not paying for food.
No, no,
Okay.
no, no. That'd be really expensive at Busch Gardens, probably.
Yes.
$10 for cotton candy. Alrighty, any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to a vote. All those in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That will then bring us to the second reading of policies, 222, 247, and 323. I know you mentioned this before, Mr. Pence, but anything else to say on this second reading?
No changes from the first reading.
Already no changes from the first round. So is there a motion to approve the listed policies? Yep, we'll wait one moment. Yep. So is there a motion to approve policy 222, policy 247, and then policy 323? There a motion?
Second.
We have a first and a second. As was mentioned, there are no changes or comments from the first reading, a little over a month ago. Any further discussion on these items?
I'd just like to thank the committee because I know this stuff gets complicated.
Yes. All right. Seeing no further discussion or questions, we'll go ahead and move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Thank you. That's going to bring us then to item 10. This is a discussion only item. There is no action or motion to vote on this evening. So YMCA contracts.
Thank you, Mr. Marvin. Yeah, so in the administrative content, I tried to explain essentially what the YMCA is asking for at this point is currently they do have the before and after school program, and they are paying the Waynesburg School District $12,000 a year. The request is because our swim team, that's been very successful, has been utilizing the YMCA pool for practice and meets from November to February. The non-swim members were charged of $21. If you're a member of the Y, you're not charged. You're using obviously the equipment as well. And so they approached me with the idea, as well as Dr. Holtzman, to have a contract similar to the Chambersburg School District with the YMCA, that it would essentially be a fair trade, or a trade, if you will. Utilization of our buildings, our 4 elementary buildings for before and after care. And then our swim team then would be able to utilize the pool without any additional charges for swim team members. I don't know off the top of my head, like how many, we have quite an impressive group that are now swimming. Like, they don't always compete, but it is an impressive number. So at this point, I had drawn up a contract that I essentially mimicked from Chambersburg. So there'll be 2 different contracts, one for the use of before and after school with no charge, and then one for the use of the pool. I know that our solicitor has looked at it. The YMCA has another, like, their contract as well. So I just wanted to have an open discussion about it. I do think it's obviously a good partnership. My recommendation would be that this is only for a 1 year. For
See
the
how it
yeah,
goes.
to see how it goes, the 2025-26 school year. It's also tied into the YMCA at this point is trying to raise like 300,000 to fix the pool. So it would be essentially almost like our contribution, but
Well, we've been using it, we've been using it for what, 4 years now at no cost. And they certainly could charge us more than that if they wanted to.
they
So,
could.
yeah, I mean, I think it's a good deal, good partnership to do this.
Refresh my memory. Why is the Y paying us $12,000? What is the before and after school care contract we have?
Okay, so we're very fortunate now that the before and after school program exists in all 4 of our elementary buildings. For a long time, it only existed at Summit View and Fairview, but parents have the opportunity, if they're a Y member or even if they're not a Y member, to bring their children into the building. I think they open around 6 or 6:30. So they'll stay there. They utilize usually the gym area, sometimes part of the cafeteria area. And then they stay there until it's breakfast time, and then usually go to breakfast and go to school. So there are some families that take advantage of the before school, and then there's families that take advantage of the after school. So when school's dismissed, they also keep the children there at the school building. It's a convenience for our families, our parents who, may not have.
Schedules don't always.
This is a YMCA program?
It's YMCA staff. So they have, and we work very closely with Amy Donald, who does the youth and childcare. They have certain criteria they have to follow.
Yeah.
We designate a space for them. Sometimes they bring in their own like refrigerator area. They have snacks. A lot of times they like to have the children outside if it's nice, but if obviously it's not, then they spend some time inside the building.
Basically, what they want to just have an in-kind swap.
That is absolutely, for my recommendation is to entertain that idea for 1 school year.
Right.
We have any swaps like that currently with anybody else?
I'm trying to think through. We just don't have too many agreements like this. in
The
general.
closest thing
The
to
country
maybe a
club.
swap, but it's not really a swap, is item number 17, where we're allowing the borough to use our metal detectors potentially.
The country club lets us use the
Oh,
course for the golf team.
wow,
track,
that's epic.
But I don't think there's an offset to that.
Yeah, so,
But I don't
That
think
is-
there's a formal agreement. I think.
no,
it's
there's
just-
not a formal agreement, but that's a very generous offer.
I do know it's less expensive than building a pool, which has been a request at times.
Suggested.
And you're looking $7-8+ million.
I can get back to you on that. I can't.
I'm just curious.
I can't think of one offhand. I mean, any other organization that uses our facilities uses they're under the facilities use form. And so, depending if they're a nonprofit organization, we might waive some of the fees, but it's pretty strict in terms of custodial security.
There's a show.
Any other discussion on the YMCA contract, or any questions that Dr. Sternheim or Dr. Holtzman can review and get back to us?
The way I look at it, as long as the solicitor doesn't see any legal difficulties, try it for a year.
And we're just discussing tonight. You
Yeah, we're
haven't
just
brought the
discussing.
contract
I had a
forward.
contract I submitted like for your review in the Friday folder, but I had to make some additional revisions.
Okay,
And I mean, obviously the YMCA in Chambersburg is now doing it with the Chambersburg High School. So it does exist, at least within our county. But I will have that, contract, formalized contract in the Friday folder and then perhaps bring it to the next, meeting for your approval.
Anything else before we move on? Seeing none, we're gonna move on to our next item 11, renewal of the NJROTC partnership with the Chambers Area School District for 25-26 school year.
Thank you, Mr. Marvin. So it's just a renewal of the contract. We were able to partner last school year. I believe we started off with 5 students and now we're, so the ability to continue this program up to 5 seats for next school year. So the possibility would be if we need.
If you're speaking, if you could go to the microphone, please.
I knew that was coming.
All right.
Nick, I don't really have anything else to say unless anybody has any questions about it.
Right,
I
I
will
will.
that for next year, I'll just put a plug out there that we have like 4 students interested as new enrollments. One of them is actually moving from, I think, out west someplace, but his father's in the military. They're being relocated here, and so he was already proactively reaching out to get it all set up. So yeah, it's a great program. We're very excited. So we're very hopeful that at least 2 out of our 3 that are currently in it will continue for next year. One of them is Zach, our board rep, and then hopefully we can go with those 4 for next year and maybe another one. So yeah, thank you for your support. on
So
that.
we only pay for the slots that we utilize. So it's up to 5. We're not paying for 5 slots up front. We will-
okay.
And then it would be prorated then based on their attendance. So if we have a student that unfortunately moves away, we would be discontinuing the payment at that point.
How many would you need for your own program? I'm just curious.
Ally, can you come to the podium,
Sorry.
please? So we did explore this quite extensively.
We heavily explored this for several years, and I learned a lot about it in the process. So essentially, you can get fully funded by the government, or you can get like partial funding, which breaks down to between I think like $80,000 and $100,000 per year because you're paying half the salaries for 2 instructors. So that's that was the big sticking point. And the Army, at least like the program that we were looking at, they like to see the hope that eventually you get to 10% of the school being served or being a part of it. And I just don't know that we'd be able to get 130, 140 interested students. This seems like a really good use of our money. It's not overspending, but it's allowing all the kids that are getting a really great experience out of it to do it. So I'm personally in favor of just continuing it. If we do get a huge influx, then we could always look at that. But yeah, unfortunately, the one that they were trying to kind of funnel us into was the one where the district would have to cover half the salaries every year.
And in addition to the salary, I mean, they would provide the equipment and the uniforms, but from a structural perspective, we would have to provide the accommodations
Yes.
for the classroom and any of the drill training. So we were exploring places
Yes,
at
we
the high
would. We
school
had
and
ideas, but-
but it would entail some considerable like costs and from a building perspective.
Right. Yeah. So again, thank you guys for
And-
supporting it.
And
Very
you
happy.
feel, and Ally, you feel that it has been very successful this year?
I
mean,
do.
it's gone-
The
okay,
biggest
good.
part has probably just been trying to coordinate. It is a little bit challenging with them being on a slightly different schedule with Chambersburg, but actually, and Dr. McCallum was really spearheading, trying to figure out a way, could we have students that really want to be a part of the after school activities that they have, like drill team, things like that we could leave them up there all day, for lack of a better term, but like just so that they could still get all their classes and be a part of the morning class at JROTC and then the afternoon activities. We're still kind of debating that, trying to look at, what are the rules of engagement for that, with like sharing students like completely between districts. So we, you know, we're definitely still trying to consider that and see how that could work. But no, I think it's definitely been a great program. Like I said, 2 of our 3 that are currently still enrolled are very gung ho. I really think they're going to continue. And again, like I said, we have 4 people that are applying as new people for next year. So if we can continue going with it, I think we can really build a good, strong contingent and, you know, maybe get more than 1 van going every day, which would be a good thing.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so we do need a motion. So is there a motion to approve the renewal of the NJRTC partnership with Chambers of Area School District for the 25-26 school year? Is there a motion?
I so move.
Second.
There's a first and a second.
Angels
Any
away.
additional questions? Comments? For this, but as a former enlisted Army person, it pains me a little bit that it's Navy, but I'll still vote for it. So. Alrighty, we'll go ahead and move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries. That brings us then to the iReady Math at Williams. Dr. Sherman?
Thank you, Mr. Marvin. So within the administrative content, I had asked Dr. DeShawn to provide some, background, which essentially most of you are obviously aware of at this point. So although the budget is still pending, we are asking for board approval for the iReady Math program at WAMS.
Alrighty, so the motion is to approve the iReady Math at WAMS core resource and curriculum. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
There's a first and a second. Any additional questions or comments about this resource?
My comment is we're already starting it, so you might as well pay for it.
Did they waive some costs in there? We get any of that?
I will have to get back to you on that. I don't
guess I
know
can
what
look back.
the final cost, the items are here as Dr. Royer had suggested that we needed to have those made available to the public. I believe Dr. DeShawn put something on the website and information was shared, but I can get that to you once, unless Dr. Holzman would have it. No.
I think we actually took that out of the policy. It used to have a 30-day review. So we took that out of the textbook policy, but we still have to approve them as a resource before we can buy them.
So again, this is approval of the resource before our budget approval to go out and purchase it. So we have a first and a second. So this motion is before this. Any other questions or discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to the vote. All those in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you very much. It was, I know Dr. DeShawn's not here, but it was a year-long process. There were a number of admin involved, teachers, and I appreciate the support.
That will move us on to our second curriculum item, the Discovery Ed / Mystery Science.
Also asking for board approval today, this evening, I should say, for Discovery Ed Mystery Science. Again, a year-long project in the hopes of making sure that our science curriculum is better aligned with the STEEL standards.
All right, so the motion is to approve Discovery Ed Mystery Science core resource and curriculum at the elementary level, which is K through 5. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
There's a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Again, this is for approval of the item before we approve our budget next month. Any questions or discussion on this curriculum item? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to a vote. All those in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Carries. All right, we're gonna give Dr. Sternheim a break. Next item is 25-26 FCCTC budget approval. Dr. Holtzman.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So we've had this budget out here and I think discussed this several times. We have it in our budget itself. It's an increase this year, but it's also due to the HVAC and roof project as well as they're expanding some courses starting in the second semester.
Alrighty. Is there a motion to approve the 25-26 resolution for the Franklin County Career and Technology Center budget? Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
The first, is there a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion on this budget approval here? None. Dr. Holtzman, they do plan to actually do the HVAC and roof project this upcoming
Yes,
school
sir.
year.
Yeah, that one they do plan on doing,
Okay.
but the Learning Center one was
The Learning
postponed
Center.
for another year.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or discussion? I know we have a couple of career tech reps. Mrs. Stride or Mrs. Fortney, anything to add or? Okay. All those in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
The only comment I would say on the last three items we discussed, if there's any way to get them better in sync with our budget passage, help.
Do you mean, just to clarify, Mr.
We're
Hamburger?
essentially approving something before we approve the budget.
Correct.
And we're approving expenditures for essentially expenditures we haven't really obligated. But
Well,
it's
you're
just,
approving the program.
yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, but I
Yeah,
understand
but
what you're
we're committing
saying.
ourselves to the budget.
Yeah.
And I understand. It's just, I would personally feel better if all this stuff was in line, but I know
Have to approve the
things
budget
don't always
considerably.
think
early.
together.
Right.
I think a lot of it has to do with professional development because what we're trying to do is line up things before, like either before the end of the school year or right after the end of the school year. So some of it's tied into.
I understand because you've got 90 days to get everything organized for the school year. It's just,
As much as we can, try to get it aligned.
yeah.
Yep,
Try.
that works. That'll bring us to our 25 summer meal program. Dr. Holtzman.
Yes, sir. So I put a memo in there for you to give you an update on this. We're looking at changing it a little bit. We typically had it as a lunch only program, and that was last couple of years was because we also had summer school too, which took advantage in several of our buildings. We're looking at going back to more of a grab and go process, which will be on Mondays and Wednesdays, but then they receive multiple meals. They're getting breakfast and lunches at the same time. We think it'll probably have some more success. It helps with some of the staffing issues we have. It'll also allow families to come in. If you're picking up that meal on Monday, you're going to get lunch on Monday. You're going to get breakfast and lunch for Tuesday and breakfast for Wednesday. And when you come back in Wednesday, you get the meals for the rest of that week itself, all at one shot. So the idea is we think that will actually increase participation. Look at some of the metrics that we have back from the summer. You'll notice that when we did this similar format in 2020 and 2021, the numbers were significantly higher than what you see in a normal, just come in and sit
Good
down and have
geez.
lunch.
So what we're saying is you come in Monday, you're actually gonna be picking up multiple meals.
Yes, sir. You're going to get lunch on Monday that you can take with you, and then also breakfast and lunch on Tuesday, and then breakfast for Wednesday. And then, of course, Wednesday, when you come in, you get that lunch, you get Thursday and Fridays, breakfast and
And
lunches.
this is
as
all
well.
funded by Uncle Sam.
Correct. It's all a federal grant so that they continue to go out there. This year, we're also looking at expanding it to Maui. Maui historically has not qualified for this program. The government sets the maps. I know. The government sets the maps, but Maui historically has not qualified. This is the first year it has qualified. So we're looking at expanding it
Great.
to that school as well.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Fairview now does not qualify, but they're grandfathered. I don't make up the maps, but the government does. So,
How do they figure this stuff out?
sir,
How do they figure this stuff out?
they use some type of a median income type calculation, and for some reason, it's,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
I'm sure
it is
things can
stuff-
sway those numbers every so often.
Listen,
There's
Yes, sir.
no issues with funding, right?
No issues with no, right, good question to ask, but at this point, no issues with funding, right?
Could there arise some issues with funding in the middle of the summer?
we could come back and reevaluate and see what that looks like. I mean, there is the potential if they were to close the program, we most likely would probably do the same thing as well. Just because we typically wouldn't.
I
be
don't think this
stepping up to the-
program's gonna get doged.
No.
I don't think so. Even kids, I don't
So,
think.
but good questions.
One would only hope, right?
All right, so I'll go ahead and
Yeah, I
ask
would-
for a motion. Is there a motion to approve the 2025 summer meal program using the non-concrete grab and go method for Fairview, Summit View, Mallory Elementary, and then the Valley View Housing Development? Is there a motion?
Second.
First and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to a vote. All those in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And carries. That brings us to 16 elementary accessibility project bids projection. Dr. Holtzman.
Yes, sir. So as you remember, we did receive bids under the general construction, but we did not receive the plumbing, HVAC, and electrical bids. Because of that, the timing of that, and we thought that it was just too tight to try to go back out and do this bid process again. And also the bids came in higher than anticipated. Again, we certainly had the lowest bids were the local bidders here, local community, but nonetheless, overall, they came in higher than anticipated. So what we're going to do is take this back to the facilities committee to take a look at this process again and come back with another recommendation in the future. But until such time, we talked to our solicitor and the recommendation is to go ahead and formally reject the bid. So it's really just a formal process that it does let the contractors know that we are formally rejecting the bids at this time.
So just so that we're all clear, this is a motion. If you approve this motion, it is approving to reject the general construction bids received for the elementary accessibility project and have the district architect notify the various bidders of the same. So is there a motion to approve rejection?
I so move.
All right, there's a first and a second. So we are approving a negative. Those you can score in your grammar. Any further discussion?
Is there any plan on when this is gonna move forward again? Like, you have roughly like.
Sure. So we've had a lot of discussions and different options. I think one of them, and again, I can't certainly speak for the committee or for the board at this point, but one of our discussions has been that if we potentially put this out to bid in November timeframe, December timeframe for the project for the next year, maybe we would get more competitive bidding very early on in that whole season. And so we might have more success that way. So if that is the path that we take, that project would start then in the summer of 26. Most of it would be finished by the end of the summer, but the elevator part of it would probably extend into the fall, probably to the holiday itself.
Did any of them say like why they, like, is there anybody you know that you can ask why they didn't bid them?
We did not. In fact, talking to the architect, he had made many phone calls and just could not get an answer. I don't know if it was, and again, certainly this is a large project from anybody's normal, if we had to pay for this, out of our own personal accounts, we would say this is a lot of money, but it's hard to generate from the architect's perspective. It's actually hard to generate interest in a project because a lot of the contractors feel this is a little too small for the electrical side, the HVAC side, and the plumbing side. So we have looked at some other potential options too. Should we do this again and we don't receive, let's say, one electrical bid or something along those lines, we do have some other potential options if we have more time that we could pursue. Kind of looking at it from like a Giza perspective or something along those lines, which is really kind of taking it under like more of a state contract situation. So that is another backup potential option should we be in the same situation next January.
And to be fair, if you look at the time frame in which bids were prepared and the bids were being made, there was a lot of price uncertainty.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great point to bring up, Mr. Hamburger.
I
Yeah.
would be interested to see how the Franklin County Career Tech Center bids come in.
Yeah.
Don't know their time frame. Last couple of months, no one knew what tomorrow was gonna cost.
And again, the architect had, in his discussions with me, he was very candid that he wasn't really sure exactly, despite all the estimates they put together, he was really surprised by the price that the bids came in at. And when he started talking to the companies, he was finding out what the cost of the actual elevators was being priced at from their subcontractors. He said, some of those factors really came into play. And the tariff situation, we just don't know at certain times. I mean, it seems like, unfortunately, there's a lot of up and down with that. So it's hard to bid that type of a project one of our big concerns was if somebody were to bid it and say, here's my price, but it could be plus any tariff, like, whoa, hold a second, that could double the price, and we certainly wouldn't want to be in that environment.
One of the things we've talked about in facilities is to be as least disruptive to the education process, which really limits your time frame to summer. And so that's one of the things we are trying to consider. Or there are some pieces that can happen during the school year, but by and large, to be least disruptive to the education process is to start when school is out, and that really limits our time window of when we can actually start the project.
And
So-
guess when the contractors are the busiest.
Exactly. That's, and so like you think November, December is actually a great time for a project because these contractors aren't busy. And so they want to do the work, but that's probably when it's one of the most disruptive times in our learning. So that's one of the considerations. So one of the things we talked by rejecting this, we're going to go back to facilities in large part to talk about some of the next steps that Dr. Holtzman has discussed here. So any other questions or discussion in terms of approving this rejection of the bid? So just as a reminder, by voting in favor, you're voting to reject the general construction bid. So go ahead and move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
That brings us down to item 17, the Borough of Waynesboro, use of the WSA's handheld and portable metal detectors.
Similar to last school year, I'm sorry, last summer, the borough has submitted a letter to request the use of our metal detectors as well as the portable metal detector. So recommendation is to approve this partnership. I think it's a way to keep everyone safe over the course of the summer. Unfortunately, there was a situation last school year, or last summer, I should say. So the recommendation is to continue this use over the course of the summer.
All right, so the motion is to allow the Borough of Waynesboro the use of WAC's handheld and portable metal detectors for the months of June, July, and August of this summer. So is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a first and a second. Any additional discussion?
They come back to us then for the school year?
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll
And
come back.
Officer Gordon does approve this, so.
Well, just to throw this out there, they did ask in a letter if we had any thoughts, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't charge them, but do our PTOs still have pool parties there for the students before school begins?
They have one combined one, have in the past.
And maybe they would waive the fee for that.
Oh.
Charge them for that.
There's a partnership, so.
I mean, it's only a small amount, but if they're they did open the discussion saying if there was anything they could do.
I'm gonna kick that over to our building principals and PTOs,
Yeah.
because I don't think that's something we can necessarily direct, in the sense that we can encourage our PTOs to reach out if that's a possibility. But I think since payment comes through a PTO, I think that's probably one of the ones our PTOs will need to lead the charge on.
Sounds good.
So I like the idea though, so.
Any idea whether they caught anybody with anything last year? You think just having them there was enough of a deterrent?
There was a knife.
Was there a knife?
They did.
Okay.
That, I think that prompted the request.
Yeah.
I
think
I'm
they're
gonna
just
leave
being
that in the
proactive.
Borough of Waynesboro's hand.
Yeah.
So,
Proactive.
yep, you think a lot of it is a deterrent as well.
Yeah.
So, any other questions or discussion on this item?
I have one question.
Yes.
So school starts in August, but we will have them back for the beginning of school, correct?
That's my understanding.
We don't use them
You just
anyway.
said June, July, and August, but
Yeah, so I'd have to double check with Officer Gordon when they were returned. So, I mean, ultimately, I would hope that we could function effectively for at least 2 weeks of school, like until Labor Day. And
Well, I will note that the second school starts, the attendance at the pool drops.
Yeah.
yes.
precipitously.
Yeah, they could probably give them back.
Any other questions? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, Dr. Holzman, item 18.
Yes, sir. This is just the standard IU Master Services Agreement to use their services, I guess, is to repeat myself, but so just an annual process.
All right, so the motion is to approve the LIU 12 Master Services Agreement for 25-26. Is there a motion to approve? There's a second for Mr. Smith. Any other questions or discussion on this item? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us finally to our financial business. Dr. Holzman, I'd like to do items 1, 2, and 3 together, please.
Yes, sir. So we have purchase orders, requisitions, that includes cafeteria, general fund, and then there's a ceded land tax exoneration and a property assessment change listed in there as well.
All right, so is there a motion to approve financial business items 1, 2, and 3?
Move to approve. Second.
I have a first and a second. Any questions or discussion for our financial business? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, that brings us to our Clayton cabinet comments. Anything from our Clayton team?
I don't-
All talked out? All righty. That'll bring us then to board member comments. Anything from our school board to comment this evening?
Actually, I want to thank the lead team for the Act 93 for, working. I think we had a good working relationship, working through this Act 93 agreement. So thank you very much.
Anything else from our school board? All right, so just as a matter of record, we did have an executive session before the meeting started for personnel. We had one right in the middle, and then we will be going to another executive session about personnel afterwards. We will not be coming back to vote on any matters. So I will ask, is there a motion to adjourn for this evening?
Second.
First and a second. Any discussion?
This better be unanimous.
There you go. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Right. Any opposed? Thank you all very much.